What if I told you that one of the most powerful men in human history spent his day wrestling with the same doubts, fears, and questions that haunt us today? That an emperor responsible for millions of lives, leading armies, facing plagues, betrayal, and loss, kept a private journal, not of victories, but of reminders on how to stay calm, honest, and human. Today we're going to step into the mind of Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor. We're going to uncover the life-changing wisdom that can guide us through anxiety, stress, difficulty with people, and chaos in modern life. Marcus Aurelius, who is he? Well, he is the ruler of the Roman Empire at its height. And despite all of this, he wasn't seduced by power or blinded by ego. Instead, he was a man of virtue who wrote the Meditations, a private journal of reflections, frustrations, reminders, and moral corrections. This was his own personal diary, and he never intended anyone else to read it. Perhaps that is why it's so powerful. It's raw, honest, and vulnerable. Today, centuries later, millions turn to his writings for clarity and strength, especially in a world filled with pressure, distraction, and uncertainty. In his journal, Marcus asks the same questions we ask ourselves today. How do I stay calm when life is unfair? How do I face loss without falling apart? How do I deal with difficult people without losing my integrity? And how do I live meaningfully right now? These are not abstract philosophical puzzles. They are practical daily challenges like dealing with a stressful job, coping with anxiety, navigating relationships, or handling unexpected setbacks. Marcus did not write theory. He wrote survival tools, the core of Stoicism. Stoicism teaches one essential truth. You cannot control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond to it. Marcus lived by this during the plagues, wars, and political betrayal. We can live by it today when someone insults us online, we lose a job opportunity, traffic makes us late, plans fall apart, and when people disappoint us. Marcus always repeats to himself, events are neutral. My judgment makes them good or bad. In a world of instant reaction, this is radical wisdom. Marcus also emphasizes 4 virtues that shape a meaningful life. These are the 4 cardinal virtues. Cardo in Latin means hinge, and so therefore these are the virtues upon which all the other virtues hinge. The first is wisdom, seeing things clearly without fear, ego, or illusion. For example, choosing long-term well-being over short-term impulses. The second one is justice, acting fairly and honorably. For example, speaking up when you see or witness injustice at work or at school. The third one is courage. That is, doing the right thing even when it's uncomfortable or even if nobody's watching. For example, you end a toxic relationship or you set boundaries with a friend or family member. The last cardinal virtue is temperance. Temperance is about practicing moderation and self-control. For example, stepping away from social media when it's harming your mental health, or walking away from any vice. Every moment becomes a chance to practice these virtues just like Marcus did. Marcus constantly reminds himself, life is brief. You don't know how many tomorrows you have. You don't know if you have any tomorrows, if that's the case. But instead of fear, this gave him clarity. For us, that might mean letting go of petty drama, appreciating loved ones while they're here, and not wasting time on meaningless conflict, and taking action instead of procrastinating. Our awareness of mortality can sharpen our focus, deepen our gratitude, and make ordinary moments very meaningful. Marcus also teaches that suffering is shaped not by events, but by our interpretation. A breakup, a job loss, rejection, or failure does not automatically destroy us. It is a story that we tell ourselves about those events that creates pain. Instead of saying, why did this happen to me? Marcus teaches us to ask, how can I grow from this? What part of this is in my control? How am I going to react to this? Under this perspective, pain becomes information, data, not identity. You are not your failure. You are what you make of your failure. And just as a little side note, wins are made up of many failures. When it comes to applying this philosophy to the modern world, we must understand that Stoicism is not isolation. Marcus insists that we are made for cooperation. I think somebody who ruled the Roman Empire knows about that. In today's world and in everyday life, that might mean helping a struggling coworker, offering kindness to a stranger, supporting a friend in crisis, contributing to your community, or simply being patient with people even when they frustrate you. To Marcus, avoiding others was not strength, it was weakness. True strength is being part of the world and improving it. Marcus ruled with wisdom in his leadership. He ruled during wars, natural disasters, and political conspiracies. Yet, he refused to let anger or pride shape his decisions. Imagine a modern leader, say a CEO, a teacher, a manager, even a parent. Imagine them beginning each day with questions like, am I acting out of ego? Am I serving others or myself? How can I be fair today? And I want to emphasize here that Marcus leads not through dominance, but through virtue, something rare and urgently needed today. With all of that said, Marcus does not hide his flaws. He admits frustrations, laziness, anger, impatience, all of that. He's a human just like us, or he was at least. He writes things to himself in his journal such as, you're losing time, stop being controlled by anger, do what needs to be done. Just imagine journaling like that today, calling yourself out with honesty, but not with shame. Marcus shows us that improving your life starts with improving your habits, thoughts, and reactions. This leads to a sort of discipline in which you accumulate small actions that make a huge impact later on. What makes Marcus enduringly powerful is his humanity. Though he was the emperor of a great empire, he faced heartbreak, illness, betrayal, and the death of children. Yet he responded with compassion and purpose. He reminds us, by right, we all struggle, but through philosophy, we can rise above our impulses. You and Marcus Aurelius are not as different as you might think. We are all just human, trying to improve. As an emperor, Marcus teaches that life, or at least the best life, isn't based on wealth, fame, status, or pleasure. The best life is built on integrity, compassion, courage, discipline. And in today's world, that might look like choosing honesty over convenience, doing the right thing even when no one is seeing, being kind when others are cruel, prioritizing values over trends. They say, people know the price of everything today, but not the value of things. And so, in his view, virtue is the ultimate form of freedom. So, here's the takeaway, and Marcus' advice for the modern world is simple but transformative. Control what you can, so your choices and your reactions. Accept what you cannot control, which is other people or external events. Act with virtue in everything, big or small. In a world filled with noise, comparison, pressure, his wisdom brings us calm. So pause and consider, what's really in your control right now? How can you face hardships with more clarity and less fear? And what would your day look like if you acted like the person you want to become? Like Marcus, you can cultivate a steady mind, one moment, one choice at a time. The meditation are Marcus Aurelius' meditations are more than ancient writings. They are a mirror, a companion, a guide. Just like Plato's city was, in the same way that Plato's Republic is a mirror of the soul, Marcus Aurelius' writings, the meditations, are also a mirror into the soul. Even in chaos, you can remain calm. Even in challenge, you can act with virtue. And even in struggle, you can find meaning. If you're interested in reading more about the meditations by Marcus Aurelius, I have linked the book in the description below. I highly suggest you get the meditations by Marcus Aurelius. It's a great daily companion. I hope you liked the video. Subscribe, share, comment, and until next time, keep your wonder habit alive.